Warning, in this episode we discuss topics of stalking, murder, abduction, cold cases, death, injury, and more. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to another episode of I Believe in Horror. I am your host, Bill Bartholomew, and with me is my co-host, Jasper.
Hello! Today we are talking about unsolved mysteries and cold cases.
I love Unsolved Mysteries. The fact that all it could take is one wrong turn or a split second and then you become something unsolved is so interesting to me.
That's cute. Yeah.
I'm seriously addicted to Unsolved Mysteries. Let's talk about what makes a mystery unsolved. And as always for our mini-series, listener discretion is advised. What makes a mystery go cold or stay in unsolved status?
While most mysteries have a clear ending or answer, there are just some that remain unsolved. But why?
In some cases, a crime is planned out so well that the perpetrator can't be caught.
In some cases, something happens so fast that there's nothing to look into.
In some cases, people or objects disappear without leaving a trail or something to guide a search.
In some cases, there is no planning whatsoever, leaving nothing for authorities to go towards.
Some unsolved mysteries are solved with deathbed confessions.
Or with new technologies.
But if technology doesn't advance quick enough,
or if no confession is made,
with no evidence, no trail to follow, no leads, no memories, and more,
a case goes cold,
leaving nothing but a mystery.
For this episode, we will be reading and reacting to some of our favorite unsolved mysteries.
This episode is deep and a lot of fun. Maybe we will have some extra unsolved mysteries in our bonus episode.
That episode will be released in just 5 short days. Anyways, here's Bo with our first unsolved mystery.
This mystery is actually the one that got me interested in the entire idea of an unsolved mystery. This story actually didn't really become popular until Netflix made a drama series about it. So, without further ado, I present the story of The Watcher. In July of 2014, the Broaddus family moved into their dream home in Westfield, New Jersey. The family was working on some renovations to the 6-bedroom house 3 days after buying it when Derek, the father, decided to go check the mail. There wasn't much in the mail except a few bills and a white card-shaped envelope. It was addressed in thick, clunky handwriting to the new owner, and the typed note inside began warmly. Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard, allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood. For the Broadduses, buying 657 Boulevard had fulfilled a dream. Maria was raised in Westfield, and the house was a few blocks from her childhood home. Derek grew up working class in Maine, then moved his way up the ladder at an insurance company in Manhattan to become a senior vice president with a salary large enough to afford the $1.3 million house. The Broadduses had bought 657 Boulevard just after Derek celebrated his 40th birthday, and their 3 kids were already debating which of the house's fireplaces Santa Claus would use. But as Derek kept reading the letter from his new neighbor, it took a turn. How did you end up here? The writer asked. Did 657 Boulevard call to you with its force within? The letter went on. 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now, and as it approaches its 110th birthday, I've been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s. My father watched it in the 1960s. It is now my time. Do you know the history of the house? Do you know what lies within the walls of 657 Boulevard? Why are you here? I will find out. If you think The Watcher is creepy now, wait until you hear what they said about the children. Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Better for me. Was your old house too small for the growing family, or was it greed to bring me your children? Once I know their names, I will call them and draw them to me. The Watcher then continued, Who am I? There are hundreds and hundreds of cars that drive by 657 Boulevard each day. Maybe I am in one. Look at all the windows you can see from 657 Boulevard. Maybe I am in one. They then continued, Welcome, my friends. Welcome. Let the party begin. Signed, The Watcher. Terrified? I was too the first time I read the letters. Speaking of, let's read some segments from the other letters. In their second letter, the Watcher further detailed how they were watching the Broadduses in their home. All of the windows and doors in 657 Boulevard allow me to watch you and track you as you move through the house, they wrote. Who am I? I am the Watcher, and I have been in control of 657 Boulevard for the better part of 2 decades now. In other letters, the Watcher claimed he or she knew their names. I am pleased to know your names now and the name of your young blood you have brought to me. You certainly say their names often. Interestingly, they spelled their surname wrong in one letter, identifying them as Bratis. The Watcher also called out the family for renovating the old home before they moved in, telling them, 657 Boulevard is anxious for you to move in. It has been years and years since the young blood ruled the hallways of the house. Have you found all of the secrets it holds yet? Will the young blood play in the basement, or are they too afraid to go down there alone? I would be very afraid if I were them. It is far away from the rest of the house. If you were upstairs, you would never hear them scream. They added that the house was crying from all the pain it has gone through, while the family continues renovations. You have changed it, and made it so fancy. You are stealing its history, the Watcher wrote. They also alluded to having lived at 657 Boulevard during the 1960s. It cries for the past and what used to be in the time when I roamed its halls. The 1960s were a good time for 657 Boulevard when I ran from room to room, imagining the life with the rich occupants there. The house was full of life and young blood. Then it got old, and so did my father, but he kept watching until the day he died. And now I watch and wait for the day when the young blood will be mine again. When the Broadduses eventually rented out their house, the Watcher reportedly addressed another letter to the couple despite the fact that they no longer lived there. To the vile and spiteful Derek, and his insert inappropriate word here of a wife, Maria. You wonder who the Watcher is. Turn around, idiots. Maybe you even spoke to me, one of the so-called neighbors, who has no idea who the Watcher could be. Or maybe you do know and you're too scared to tell anyone. Good move. In total, the Broadduses received 4 letters, each creepier than the last. To this day, the Watcher has never been identified. State authorities have now labeled the investigation as inactive, though all that will change if any legitimate leads or evidence is presented. In 2019, the Broadduses sold their house at a much lower price, $959,000 to be exact, a loss of over $300,000, all just to escape the Watcher. The new owners have never received a letter.
It's a very interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard this story before. However, like from a personal standpoint, I've never read the letters because
you have to go and read all of them. And then you have to read what they do after each of them.
Now I'm going to.
Yeah. Make sure that you do. And make sure that you guys read the letters before you watch the Netflix series, because the Netflix series gets so much wrong. They also, they fantasize everything past the first episode. And so all of those letters are fake past the first episode, and the entire story, they actually decide on who it is. And it's really, really weird the way that they do.
It makes sense because in Netflix, you oftentimes want to, give it more drama and emphasize other things. And obviously you want an ending.
Uh-huh.
And as much as Unsolved Mysteries are fun, you can't do much in a Netflix documentary when there's no ending to the story.
Exactly.
So I see why they went there. I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, and it's really... So, yeah, it's really, really creepy that they went through this. And, and the fact that they moved out and they stopped receiving letters, and then the new owners who, last I checked, they didn't move in until, 2 years after they bought the house.
Wow.
Because they were so afraid of getting Watcher letters, they have never received a single one. And,
very interesting.
The Netflix series, near the end, it does allude to that they started to receive these letters to wherever they would go. And, that actually didn't happen. But it's also, it really makes you think, what if there is somebody out there that is watching me? What do I do?
Well, and, the ending of that documentary, which I will not spoil, or series, that's very interesting, and it reminds me of a few other cases that I have read before of people writing letters to themselves or talking to themselves, and it was as a result of carbon monoxide poisoning from old houses.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, and it could, maybe it was one of them.
Yeah.
And then when they moved out, they may have stopped having episodes, or they may have stopped talking to themselves because they weren't being poisoned anymore. Yeah. And it was a very old house, so if there was a leak like that, it wouldn't be. And I think
it's really interesting that it started to get, like, one of the articles that I read about it said that it started to get more, like, the letters, out of the 4 of them, the most vibrant and most, like, attackish one was when they were doing the most renovations to the house. And so it could have either been releasing more carbon dioxide poisoning, or it could have been they don't have as much carbon dioxide in the house, and so it's like a withdrawal symptom almost. But then the only outlier with that situation is that then they received another letter after they had actually and they had stopped living there for about a year before they received that last one.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Interesting. Well, I am telling our next story, which is very interesting. In my opinion, it's a lot less dark. So I'm going to be talking about the infamous WOW signal that came from space. And this is going to get into a deeper topic, but I'm going to start off with this. The background for this signal was in 1977, researchers were listening to a satellite when they picked up this signal that lasted for 72 seconds. It should be noted that this wasn't just static, which they had picked up a lot This was significantly different. This signal was powerful, precise, and the most interesting fact was it landed on the exact frequency that scientists thought that they might find and reveal extraterrestrial communication. Scientists for years since then have tried to explain this signal, but to this day there has been no public explanation for why this signal has occurred. This has always been something that has been very interesting to me. I have always loved space, and if you do even a little bit of research, there are many, many mysteries when it comes to space. What's very interesting about it was the extraterrestrial aspect of it, and it kind of leads into a conversation about areas where it's long been believed of aliens and UFOs. We're doing research on them there. It's been 50 years. It's been 48 to be exact years since this signal has occurred. Technology has advanced quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's just a very interesting thing to talk about. Have they discovered what caused this, and have they not released it? Yeah.
We will now insert. Do be aware it is pretty much a high-pitched squeal. So with that, 3, 2, 1. Well, that sounds really interesting.
It's because you'll hear, and I don't mean to be making this specific joke with it, but at exactly 67 seconds into that audio, we won't play you obviously didn't hear the full audio, but if you go and listen to it, at exactly 67 seconds, there is a very specific beep that was made. So aliens predicted 6-7, 48 years before it became popular, folks.
Or maybe, maybe some teenager in the future is transmitting that to 47 years ago.
Technically.
That would be interesting if, in the future we find out how we can, transmit something, to previous times. And some teenager is the one in charge of it, and they add a beep at 6-7, just for the fun of it.
For the hell of it. Oh, that's hilarious. Do you have any more?
Well, I just think it's interesting that we know so little about the world around us, and we know even less about the world that isn't around us, and it's insane that we have explored as much as we have in space and still haven't found a cause for this, or at least it hasn't been released.
And it's very interesting because, as most people probably know, NASA used to explore the oceans.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of is a side tangent, but after exploring maybe a little over 5% of the oceans, they completely stopped.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very interesting that now they've gone on to space, but with space, there still seems to be very little communication that happens with what they're finding.
Yeah.
So the world is interesting.
Have you or someone you love been affected by a cold case?
If so, your family may be entitled to financial compensation.
Call the number on your screen now to talk to a representative of the Watcher Insurance Agency and see if you apply today.
And welcome to the life update. Oh, this is going to be a rough one. Not actually, it's fine. Yeah, I guess my life update, I kind of said this in the last episode, but midsummer is over. We're full send into something rotten, which is killing me, but it's okay. We're barely into the second quarter, and I have terrible senioritis, so in other words...
Oh dear goodness, that's the second bleeping in this episode.
Okay, but it's gonna be...
I know, it's gonna be really funny when we replace it with a case.
Okay. But yeah, not a lot has happened. Still looking for a job. If you need... Yeah. Oh, how's your life?
Well, let's see. Since the releasing of the last episode and now, this is Tuesday, we're recording on Tuesday, my mom's birthday is tomorrow, so happy birthday, Mom.
Aww.
Part of the really fun birthday surprise that I have for her that she also already knows about and is not that excited for is I am bringing home the robot baby from CE Child Development.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to have that Wednesday and Thursday night, and that is, I can't wait and be very, very productive during the time that I have that child, and it keeps me up all night. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, because that's 100% gonna happen.
Yeah, and I'll put photos, many, many photos on my Instagram, so you can go look at that, and it's gonna be...
I can't wait to see Bo with the robot baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have so much fun.
Yep. And that concludes the life update. Now, the next Unsolved Mystery is pretty interesting, considering that the mystery part is actually what happened. In fact, this mystery might have already been solved, and so, without further ado, I now present the mysterious disappearance and reappearance of Stephen Kubacki. Stephen Kubacki was a 23-year-old student at Hope College in Holland, Michigan, a private Christian university near the eastern shore of Lake Michigan. On February 20th, 1978, whilst on a solo cross-country skiing trip, he mysteriously disappeared. The day after his trip to Lake Michigan, snowmobilers spotted cross-country skis abandoned with a backpack and contacted the authorities to report a missing person. They quickly found that the pack's contents belonged to Stephen Kubacki, and a search and rescue mission was immediately started. But the only clue was a 200-yard trail of footprints in the snow leading past the edge of the lake, which ended abruptly, leading investigators to conclude that Kubacki had fallen through the ice to his death, either by drowning or hypothermia. The area close to Lake Michigan was somewhere Kubacki had visited many times before. For months, Kubacki's family and friends grieved his loss and even held a funeral for him despite not having a body. Suddenly, on May 9th, 1979, almost 15 months after he disappeared, Kubacki was located riding as a passenger in a semi-truck through Massachusetts on his way towards LA. with no memory of what happened since the day at Lake Michigan. Kubaki was tested and checked for the rest of 1979 by scientists who tried to figure out what had happened to him. When no conclusion was reached, conspiracy started to take over. Was Kubaki abducted by aliens? Was Kubaki sucked into the Lake Michigan Triangle, the site of many disappearances of planes, boats, and other people over the years? No one knew. Or that's what people were told. In 2025, over 45 years later, Kubaki announced, "I have perfect recollection of what happened when I disappeared." When he said this, he had only released small details, but on September 15th of this year, he released a book titled The Disappearance, Conspiracy, Revolution, Revelation, The Extraordinary Disappearance of Stephen Kubaki, after 45 years of silence. The book is a memoir written by Kubaki about what happened during his 15-month disappearance. I haven't read this yet, but it is definitely on my TBR, and if anyone can't think of a really cool Christmas gift for me, this is it.
See, I would get you the gift, but I don't have money. So.
Darn. Well, it's out there, and most of the listeners know who I am, and so y'all know how you can get it to me.
That's a very interesting story. I think like I don't even know where to start.
It's such an interesting story because I was reading an article about it today, and he said that he's remembered what happened the entire time, and that him like showing up in Missouri, or where did he show up? Him showing up in Michigan was his cover-up for how he was like coming back into the open.
He's obviously going to say why in the book, so I need to read it. But that's so interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did he show up like untouched? Was he fine?
So the original place that I found out about this was from the Heart Starts Pounding podcast. And the way that she described it was that he woke up, quote unquote, in a semi-truck driving towards LA. And then he called his family in LA.
What?
Or he had the semi-driver pull over. He called his family in Michigan, or it's not in Michigan, in Massachusetts. He had the semi-driver pull over in Massachusetts, and then he called his family. And that's 450 plus miles away from where he disappeared.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to read the book.
Yeah.
Because, like, with your last story, I was able to, like, think, like, oh, this could maybe be the reason, or, oh, maybe it was this. Mm-hmm. This, I have no clue.
Yeah. And, like, he's still alive, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like, he's almost 60 years old right now. He has a PhD. And he did an interview about, like, a week ago with some person.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch the whole interview. But, like, it's really interesting how he describes that he's kept it secret because he thought, oh, it'd be cool. And so I really want to read the book to be like, was it entirely necessary for you to keep where you were secret this entire time? Or was it just, oh, I'm going to do it because I can?
It was probably just for the hell of it, going, oh, yeah, I'll keep it a secret.
Yeah.
You all won't find out. Very interesting.
But, like, the fact that he was so ready to just disappear from his family and then, like, with no explanation, and the fact that he disappeared and there weren't any footsteps leading from where he was.
That's what's so creepy. Because I feel like even in cases that I've read where they were, like, planned
mm-hmm.
and discussed and they talked about it before, it was still, like, there wasn't this much mystery to it. Like, you still had a basic understanding.
And he left all of his stuff behind. Everything.
Yeah. Like, clothes included?
Everything was in his backpack. All of his skiing stuff was sitting next to his backpack. All of his identification, all of his, like, devices. He was going, like, in just the clothes on his back when he disappeared.
It sounds like he wanted to disappear.
Yeah, and part of the interview, he did actually say that, like, he was being pretty rebellious beforehand. And he was really excited for this cross-country skiing trip. But, like, Anyways, please somebody buy me the book, please. I need to know what actually happened.
We'll see. All right, now time for our final mystery. The murder of Elizabeth Short, aka the Black Dahlia, is one of the most famous unsolved crimes. The body of 22-year-old Short was found mutilated and dismembered on January 15, 1947 in Los Angeles. Despite an investigation with over 150 suspects, no one was ever arrested, and the murder of Elizabeth Short remains a cold case. The body had been drained of blood and cleaned, leaving her skin white. The body was completely severed at the waist. Short's face had been slashed from the corners of her mouth to her ears, and entire portions of flesh had been sliced away. There were numerous cuts in a crisscross pattern over her pubic area, and her pubic hair had been removed by hand. The autopsy showed the cause of death to be hemorrhaging from the lacerations to her face and the shock from blows to the head and face. Most of the damage done seemed to have been post-mortem, including the severing of the body at the waist.
Wow. So this is probably one of the most gruesome unsolved mysteries that I've heard of. Remind me again why it's called the Black Dahlia case.
I actually don't know. Anything that I have found online, I've never really found a clear reason for that. There's no reason for it. One thing that was very interesting that I didn't talk about originally is she was an aspiring actress, which is why she had moved to LA, and she had never really booked anything crazy. But a lot of people, especially nowadays, believe that was a major reason why she was targeted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A whole bunch of serial killers in the past have used hey, come and get this acting gig to get some of their victims.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if maybe this was one of those that the killer went, oh, let's try something new this time, and then decided not to do it ever again.
Maybe, but one thing that's interesting to note about it is there's no trace of anything. It was just this woman walking in the morning found her body, and it was in front of a shopping mall, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It was a very public place, but it was very clear that she was not killed there. Because all of her blood was drained and her body was so clean.
That makes me almost think that maybe somebody trained in the mortician style did something. Because that sounds very you would have to have the materials ready. So this would have to have been really planned out well.
Yeah, this isn't one of those where it's just I'm gonna kill her and cut her in half and leave her there. Because of how pristine the body was. It was not this crazy bloody mess, so it had to have been prepared beforehand. But there's no trace of any preparations. And it's very, very interesting. Well, that is all we have for you today.
It is truly terrifying how quickly a case can go cold.
Yeah, and it's so scary to think that you can become the subject of an unsolved mystery at any given time.
With one wrong move or thought, you could make something unsolvable.
And with that, be sure to join us for our bonus episode in 5 days.
I really want to return to Unsolved Mysteries.
Me too. Maybe we'll throw them into another episode.
For sure.
Now be sure to check out our website and our Instagram to keep up with our mysterious lives before they too grow cold.